Alright, finally I'm gonna get the new Middlechild aluminum V2 on the trails. Have a completely stock 29er GX build. And I'm riding a size medium. You can hear that hub screaming. That would be the Sunringle Durock rim combination, which are 35 mil rims. And usually a bike will come with 30 mils, and these 35s are nice. They put more tread on the ground. This bike weighs in at around 32 pounds. That's heavier than the steel version. After doing a couple climbs now, I think you can definitely realize 35 mil Sunringle rims are heavy, so the acceleration is not there. So actually, just going through all those routes, you can tell the back end of this frame is just really overbuilt. You can really feel it in your feet, but I do think that's okay. And this thing is really planted to the ground. You go off a route and it just sticks. It's not bouncing off of the rocks. One thing I forgot to mention is that I have the sliding dropouts all the way back, and that's pretty much as far forward as you can get them. The chainstays are about 430 at the rearmost. You can only get to that 415 with 27.5s. And now we're coming up on a climb. We'll see how it does. It's definitely hardtail. Maximum efficiency. See if I can get up this straight up. Oh yeah, that's an easy manual right there. Here is our first downhill section. Oh yeah. I have never ridden a modern geometry bike, and I would consider this as a modern geometry bike. And it's unbelievable how natural it feels. There's no big adjustment for this 64.5 degree head tube. It just feels like I'm riding any other bike I'd ride. There's no big adjustments you gotta make. But then as it's easy to ride, you get all the benefits of the modern geometry without having to adapt to riding a whole new type of bike, pretty much. Just so intuitive. You point it, it goes where you point. It really just ate up all those sharp turns like they were nothing. And this is not a tiny bike, but it just ripped through all those turns. This is definitely a downhill bike, as it should be. So damn planted. It's just stuck to the ground. This is a pretty good rest area to talk about that downhill. This thing is an absolute machine. Feels like an enduro bike. every single drop, all the consecutive roots, rocks. This thing doesn't just bounce off of it. It plows right through it. And even though it's probably more ideal to have the 27.5 wheels on here, so your bottom bracket's lower, it still corners so well. There's just so much confidence when you're going into those tight turns. All right, let's get some fairgrounds here. Uh-oh. We got some leaves. Here's the new section. I'm just gonna go over my thoughts and the overview of the bike. Components wise, we'll start at the front. SRAM Level T brakes. They are only 2-piston, but they do work pretty well. Really easy to stop, you know. You don't need the 4 pistons. We also have Sunringle Durock 35 wheels, which come with a 180 disc, are wrapped in 2.5 Maxxis tires, and they are tubeless ready. We have the DVO Diamond D3 fork with 140mm travel, and it comes with a integrated mud fender, which screws directly into the fork instead of a zip tie. We have Race Face 35 bars. They are alloy. There's RSD branded grips. We have SRAM 11 to 50 tooth 12 by drivetrain. It is the GX. We have a Cane Creek 40 headset, which is the sealed cartridge, and it is external on the bottom but internal at the top. Moving back, we have a KS Lev dropper. The length is 150, and for me, at 5'5", almost all the way down. The bottom bracket is SRAM dub. The cranks are GX alloy, and it comes with a RSD chain protector. I like a nice Velcro one that's really long. It protects the whole thing. That's pretty much all your components. Now that I'm done with the specs, I'll go to my ratings for how it performed out on the trail today. For climbing, it does very good, just because it is very efficient. The pedal position is nice. You can really make it up. Obstacles that you may have to manual up, you can control it when it gets slow, but the only downsides to the climbing would be the weight, and the wheels are heavy, so that acceleration isn't really there. Stiffness of the aluminum frame does help with the climbing. So yeah, it is a pretty good climber. Now, downhilling though, that's where it really excels. It goes above and beyond all my expectations. The slackness and the long front end, combined with the 430 rear chainstay, it just allows this thing to be not only planted to the ground, but it also helps it corner and plow through any type of roots, rocks at high speeds. And it gives you that extra confidence to really push it to the limit. This thing really just shreds downhill. Not only the flow stuff, but when you get into that tight turn, like that first downhill, and the tight roots and little drops that go into turns, it just handles them so well. So climbing, very good. Downhill, amazing. Just so good. And of course, I can't mention all the good stuff without mentioning the cons, which immediately stuck out to me as the stiffness of the frame. Although it's aluminum, really harsh. And of course, my only other con would be just the weight. The fork is not a light fork. It's a good fork, but it's not light. The wheels, they're wider than your average wheels. They are heavy. But man, this is just such a great bike. And I would definitely recommend it if you love to have fun.